So Timothée Chalamet just became, I believe, the youngest actor to win a SAG award. It's a motion picture award, and he gave it a really interesting, kind of unusual acceptance speech of the award. So I want to take a look at this, and I want to comment on a few things that he has to say, because there's actually something that I believe we can learn even from the small comments that he says. It kind of can take us down a rabbit hole. So let's take a listen.
Timothée Chalamet.
Oh boy. No, I raised this up. Guess I'm just gonna talk low. I don't know how to get this up. I'll start by thanking my mother, who I'm here with tonight. She has been working at Actors Equity for 40 years, the stage union. And I'll quickly run through this. You know, I know the classiest thing would be to downplay the effort that went into this role and how much this means to me, but the truth is this was 5.5 years of my life. I poured everything I had into playing this incomparable artist, Mr. Bob Dylan, a true American hero, and it was the honor of a lifetime playing him.
It's the classy thing to downplay the amount of work that it takes to be in a film. And he says it took 5.5 years of his life as he is crafting, working on, preparing to play Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown, which I watched the film. It's freaking awesome. It's actually a really good movie. Everyone should watch it. But what he's saying is like not downplaying the extreme hard work and the long processes. Because if you downplay something, like if you downplay your work, even I've learned this in my life, if you downplay your work, it allows other people the permission to also downplay your work. In many ways, it's extremely valuable to say, like, if you're being honest, yes, you worked hard for something. You worked hard on a film. I know I've done a handful of indie films. One was 45 minutes long. One was like 52 minutes long. And so even to do something on an indie project with only a couple $1,000s and like a few actors, a few friends helping, it just takes so much time. It's so much work. And then even getting in the editing for months in your spare time while you work a 40-hour, sometimes 50 hours a week. It's just a lot of work to make something get accomplished. In a lot of ways, it's disrespectful to yourself, and it's giving people permission that's going to also be disrespectful to yourself, and in turn cause you to feel insecure and a little angry at other people for not respecting your hard work. So that's like a little lesson, a little tidbit that I thought was very valuable and interesting.
It's an honor I share with Monica, Elle, Edward, the entire cast, who in a genre doing a biopic that could be perhaps tired. Everyone gave it their all. And lastly, I can't downplay the significance of this award because it means the most to me. And I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there. So I'm deeply grateful to that. This doesn't signify that, but it's a little more fuel, it's a little more ammo to keep going. Thank you so much.
He said something there that he's inspired by other greats to also become greatness. He's in the pursuit of greatness. And I would say on the surface level, that is not bad, because what are like the surface level side effects of being ambitious to become great? Well, you work hard. You probably don't get involved in a lifestyle that's going to cause your life to dwindle, right? That's going to cause your life to become undisciplined. You are going to be constantly reaching for self-betterment. You're going to be constantly reaching for the best version of you, the hardest working version of you, the most ethical version of you. But on contemplation, thinking about this ambition, and I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, because I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what his higher ambitions are. But while I think and meditate about that ambition to become great, in the pursuit of greatness, I feel like for me, and I think for a lot of people, we need a little bit more than that. What does that mean? So as an example, I am a Christian. My faith in Jesus and my faith in eternity and my ethical values while I'm alive here on earth is dictated by what the Bible has to say, also is guided inside of me through the Holy Spirit. And so my values of what the pursuit of greatness looks like is very much aligned with what I believe is in line with the Bible, is very much aligned with what I believe the Holy Spirit is leading me towards based on my own desires and my own passions, and constantly seeking what God's desire is for me, and that he gives me the desires of my heart as long as they are within his will. And so there's a higher calling that this ambiguous term in the pursuit of greatness needs to be defined out a little bit more. Here's actually an example of someone who is very successful in Hollywood, Jim Carrey. I found the speech he did a while back where he talked about his underlying purpose when he was in the pursuit of greatness, kind of a revelation that came to him, right?
When I was about 28, after a decade as a professional comedian, I realized one night in LA that the purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern, just like my dad. And when I realized this, I dubbed my new devotion the Church of Freedom from Concern. The Church of FFC. And I dedicated myself to that ministry. What's yours? How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Because everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
That's a pretty powerful thing. So his purpose was to free people from concern, all right? So obviously Jim Carrey is a very popular film comedian. His mission, his underlying value, his purpose that caused him to be motivated to pursue greatness was for the reason to free people from concern. There was a mission there. It wasn't this generic just greatness, right? And I think in some levels, that's kind of what Timothée Chalamet naming other actors, okay, that's great. And then he names two athletes, right? Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, a swimmer and a basketball player. It's kind of like, in some ways, he's insinuating that he's just pursuing money and fame, like generally. He's just pursuing becoming the greatest at his craft rather than pursuing greatness with a motivating reason, right? That is beyond money and fame. And I think it's pretty clear, even someone like Jim Carrey, who I do not believe is a believer like myself, he's motivated by helping the world with what your talent can offer them, right? What is that defined as? I think it's super valuable for filmmakers and entertainers and storytellers who are pursuing the art of crafting stories, because culture is shaped and moved and transformed and destroyed through stories. And so it's a very powerful tool, the art of filmmaking, as goes production, as goes storytelling, as goes storytelling media, so goes culture. I really believe that. And I think there's something a little toxic to this idea of vainglory. Even the Bible talks about the pursuit of vainglory, like that it's something that's not valuable to pursue. It's not valuable to achieve. And I think really, especially like what Jim Carrey is saying, that everything is left in ashes, everything's left worthless unless you know that you've reached the top of your craft on the shoulders of a reason to be there. You're standing there with purpose so that you're not just looking out at the top being the greatest and being like, what is there up here but just loneliness? You know, that's what I think. If you're smart, you're paying attention to people who have become great, hear their wisdom, and then start orienting your mind. The Bible calls it renewing your mind towards a direction that is right and helpful and more moral, and will guide you to a better version of happiness than perhaps the path you are currently on. So I'm not saying Timothée Chalamet is on the wrong path. I'm just saying the very small, short amount of time he had to give a speech kind of inspired me. And then I kind of wanted to comment on what he had to say as well. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful to you, if this was insightful, just fun, something to think about. And like Timothée Chalamet said close to the beginning of his speech, I think it's very valuable also. That's something that can be practically applied to your life tomorrow. Don't devalue and disrespect your hard work. I think that is a very dangerous place to be, and it can build resentment. So that's a very practical thing he said. He exemplified in his speech. That's really helpful. On this channel, I talk about filmmaking and the future of filmmaking, and people who have become great teach filmmaking. And so if that's interesting to you, subscribe to the channel and stick around to watch more videos just like this.